lush green field with the sun shining perfectly and a gentle breeze blowing across the back of your neck. Take a couple deep breaths, then open your eyes. Did you have trouble settling down? Could you really relax? Did you have problems keeping your mind off things you had to do? Were you making checklists, planning your way home, or even picturing memories of things that had already happened? Hi, I'm Rukmini, of American origin, Indian origin, and British, so pretty global. I like to write, read, debate, and sing. Reading especially has always been a great passion of mine. My parents always frustrated at me for spending all my free time in a book. I would sing all the time, enough and loudly and obnoxiously enough, so that my parents finally banned the song Tomorrow from the musical Annie in our home forever. Now think about your middle and high school years as we go through this scenario. Your alarm clock rings, 6 a.m., and it's time to wake up. You jump in the shower, dress, brush your teeth, and grab a bagel on your way out the door. Once you're on the bus, you focus on the algebra homework you couldn't get done last night, even though you only got 4 hours of sleep. The last bell rings, and you're on the bus home, this time worrying about the science presentation you have to get done tonight. From home, you grab a snack, then head to swim practice for 2 hours, guitar lessons for another hour, then back home to do your homework for another 4 hours. Sound familiar? With give or take a couple extracurriculars here and there. This is the life of the average school-going kid here in America. Now, perhaps some of you are thinking, well, I had to do that too. What's the big deal? And isn't this a natural part of growing up? But the question I'm asking today is, why? What are the consequences of our life on the racetrack? And how do we know when and how to say stop? South Korea averages 40 to 43 successful suicides a day, earning Seoul the nickname of the suicide capital, and South Korea one of the highest suicide rates in the world. 9% of elementary school kids admitted to their teachers that they had thought about killing themselves. When asked why, they invariably replied along the lines of, too much work. And unfortunately, what is happening in South Korea is not simply restricted to South Korea. It is reflective of the states of mind and sanity across the world. Think about where you're sitting, in the United States of America, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. But do we really have the right to call ourselves the land of freedom when we have made our chains with our own hands? Take the example of AP, or advanced placement classes. Out of the top 6 reasons to take them, 5 out of 6 relate to getting into college, and the 6th relates to saving money on college tuition. What was originally a creative idea for gifted students to get more challenging work has turned into classes that are necessary for a good college to even look at a student's application. So if the only reason to take AP classes is because everyone else is taking them, then why is it that we take them at all? With our mental health and lives at stake, why is it that we keep playing poker and not fold? Well, the answer is that we're scared to fold, to be called cowards or losers, because we live to see the relaxing moments and simple pleasures in life. Because once you're on the treadmill, it's either on or off, black or white, and the only way to get off is to stop. But stop, we must, because as our generation has gotten older and supposedly wiser, we've also forgotten the moral that Baloo teaches us in the Jungle Book. It's the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. And though most of us understand the problem, there usually isn't a big red stop sign handy. And this question of, how do I stop, is one I've been struggling with for a long time, turning it over and over in my head, looking for a loophole in what seemed like a solid block of smooth wood, not even a place to latch on or grab hold. But then, while I was on vacation over the summer, I hit upon it. It's called the pause button. To me, this mental pause button can be summarized in 3 simple words: observe, understand, and express. Understanding something is the key to going beyond. Creativity would not create in the same way were it not based on the same needs. As Sir Isaac Newton once said, "I have accomplished all that I am today by standing upon the shoulders of giants." In the same way, the only creation that can occur is when we first understand the concept behind it. So take a moment to observe something small, like a flower growing out of the ground or the graffiti on the walls. Observe it, understand it, then express it. We all have different ways in which we express things. Me, I write, but I have friends who paint, sketch, or even calculate the rate at which plants grow. Now perhaps this is a little extreme, but it's about taking time to do something you enjoy. A few weeks ago, my leadership teacher, Mr. G, was talking about the importance of relaxation, and we all agreed that yes, taking time to relax and de-stress was important. But when it came to practicality, and when he asked us to take 5 minutes of our time each day and devote it to relaxing, we all just kind of looked at each other until someone raised their hand and said, "Well, Mr. G, we don't have time for that." But all he did was smile enigmatically and say, "You have time for what you make time for." And he's absolutely right. I can guarantee you that there is no one out here today who cannot afford to spend 5 minutes of their time each day taking time for themselves. Over summer break, my family and I went to India to visit relatives. Since my grandparents live on a school compound, I volunteered to help teach English in a 5th grade class. To tell the truth, I was scared, but I made myself go, saying to myself, "Rukmini, they're just kids, albeit kids that speak another language. But you speak that language. It's all right. Calm down." On a side note, if you're confused about my logic there, I am too. When I got into the classroom, however, things got much simpler. I had planned a game, and they loved it. Instead of resenting my presence as an outsider, they warmed up to me immediately. And it was there, looking at those kids sitting on the ground, bright smiles and eyes, that the beginnings of this talk first began in my head. I realized then, at the most innocuous of moments, what really matters when it comes to the education system. Kids need to love what they do. And it is only then, when there's actual enjoyment in the learning, that we can truly learn. When you bury a kid under piles of homework, and you stuff their brain with knowledge they can't figure out the connections to, you bury their creativity under a pile of expectations. How then do we expect them to love what they do? On the roof of my aunt's house in India that same summer, I was looking out of the school dorms, glittering below us like stars in the night sky. I watched them for what seemed like a long time, before one by one, they began to blink out. I looked down at my watch, yes, I'm that nerdy, and found that it was only 10 o'clock. At last, I had found the key that unlocked the great mystery of the de-stress mode: sleep. And in order to achieve that sleep, less homework, extracurricular activities, and worry, and more relaxation. When we race through life, we don't get time to truly understand what we see and hear around us. That's why we need time to relax, so we can both do something we enjoy and gain a little happiness, and also have our minds more alert for when we need to be. There are many ways to relax, and the only rule, so to speak, would be to let go of whatever is binding us to the real world. I choose to just chill out to a playlist of my favorite songs, snuggle under the duvet with a good book, and drink a cup of hot chocolate, a prospect that seems very inviting to me right about now. So how do you relax? Are you relaxed? Be honest with yourself, because it is only then, when we have all accomplished this final melting away of our chains, that we can truly call ourselves Americans, inhabitants of the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.